Hi, I'm Anika Allen, and welcome to Flavourmag Presents Google's Top Black Talent, a monthly series showcasing top role models in various industries, black students, graduates, and early career professionals. Today's topic is law. If you have a question for one of our lawyers, make sure you go to flavourmag.co.uk/TBT to submit your questions. And if you're following us on Google Plus and Twitter, make sure you use the hashtag TBT Hangout. In today's show, we have a mixed group of legal professionals who work in a variety of areas of law. We also have Sherry Dixon discussing confidence skills, and Joy O'Donoghue will explain how you can dress for success. But before we get to them, we're going to have a chat with Matthew Seeley, who works in the HR department and hires lawyers to work at Google. How are you?
I'm very well, Nika. How are you?
I'm good. So can you explain to us what your role is here at Google?
So I'm a recruiter. I help to hire people into our legal team in Europe, Middle East and Africa.
Fantastic. So what qualities does someone need to kind of get hired?
So into our legal team, I think first of all we look for academic achievements. Mm-hmm. I think the second thing is experience, ideally within the tech sector, supporting commercial contracts and intellectual property work. And I think thirdly, we're looking for a varied experience. So we've hired lawyers into our team that have been media lawyers, have been music producers, or they're bloggers, or they've set up their own businesses in other areas. So it's a mixture of the three things.
Fantastic. So on your CV, kind of what things are you looking for on people's CV when they're applying for a job at Google, the lawyers in particular? So
I think academic achievement, first of all. I think experience either working for or as a consultant to international technology businesses, so software, internet companies, hardware companies also, and then that kind of third thing, which is a mixed experience, so people who volunteer in the community, are bloggers, have an interest in technology in general, or the wider world, I think.
And so how do they apply for jobs? Where do they go?
So the first place, the most immediate place would be our careers page. So that's google.com/careers. And there you can find all of our legal roles listed by sector, by legal area, and by location.
Is that the only way you can kind of apply for a job at Google?
So LinkedIn also would be a good option. Or if there are Googlers that you know, a referral is always a very good foot in the door too.
And what's the interview process like?
So we try and make it as painless as possible. It would involve probably 3, if it was a legal counsel role or associate legal counsel position, it would be an interview with 3 of our legal team. So they would be the hiring managers and also then a cross-functional interviewer. So that would be the client that you would support as a lawyer. So it could say be in sales or for YouTube or for Google Play. So 4 interviews in total.
4 interviews, wow. What's the biggest challenge with what you do?
I think it's a mix of dealing with the volume of applications that we have, but also providing regular feedback and a good candidate experience. So we have high standards, we have a high hiring bar, but also we're making a volume of hires. So it's really finding a balance between quality and delivering quantity to the business.
And what do you love most about what you do and also working at Google?
So I enjoy my job most when I think it kind of feeds in and it helps deliver what Google's aims are, which is to make the world's information more readily available for everybody, but also to improve the world for the better. So it sounds a bit cheesy and a bit of a cliche, but there are genuine kind of hires that we've made for legal recently that have helped protect the freedom of the press, the freedom of the internet in Turkey, say, or in Russia. So I found hires like that very rewarding.
Amazing. Well, I hope you've all been taking notes and thinking about applying for jobs here soon. So thank you, Matthew.
Thanks.
Since the branches of law are so diverse and widespread, there are different types of lawyers who specialise in different areas, and not all of them are involved in the kinds of trials we've come to love and see on our favourite TV shows. We have 5 amazing legal professionals here with us today, and I'll let them introduce themselves and tell us what areas they specialise in. Hi guys, so if you could please introduce yourselves.
My name is Olumide Solanke. I'm a consultant solicitor at Duncan Lewis, and also I consult for Trinity Solicitors. I specialize in immigration law.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Tunde Okewale. I'm a barrister at Doughty Street Chambers. I'm also the founder of an organisation called Urban Lawyers. My practice areas are crime, international law, and I'm also an FA-regulated lawyer.
Hi, my name's Cheryl Nwosu. I'm a barrister currently practicing from 4 Breams Buildings Chambers. I specialise in criminal law. I also do regulatory and disciplinary law, and now through direct access, I've basically opened up my practice to general law.
Hi everyone, I'm Garvey Hanchard. I'm a senior associate solicitor working out of private firm Bircham, Dyson, Bell, and I practice in employment law.
And lastly, we have a lawyer joining us via Hangout from Birmingham. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Suzanne Burrell. I'm a group manager at Samuel Legal Services. I currently manage the commercial contract team, the highways team, the planning team and compulsory purchase order team. I specialise in major commercial projects.
Fantastic. So I'm going to start with you, Tunde. So in your view, what do you say would you say are the major problems kind of affecting people trying to forge a career in the law industry?
I think a lot of people don't do enough research. A lot of people think law sounds like a good idea, and it's glamorized by television programs, but a lot of individuals haven't done the prerequisite research to make that determination that law is in fact the right career for them. I feel that a lot of candidates try to do what everybody else has done. So for example, they've got the same work experience, they've done the same degree, and I think in this current climate, looking at the market and it's so competitive, the best advice would be to try and differentiate yourself. So do things that nobody else has. So when someone's looking at your application, you stand out, as opposed to them necessarily going through a process of going eeny, meeny, miny, mo, because you all look the same on paper.
You mentioned degree there, so I'm wondering, Cheryl, do you feel you need a law degree to have a career in law?
No, you certainly don't need a law degree to have a degree in law. I have a law degree. I read law at university, but a number of people that I was at law school with, so when I did my bar vocational course, which I know has now changed its name, but the practical course to train to be a barrister, a number of people in my class hadn't studied law, so they'd done all different kinds of degrees and had then done a law conversion course after their first degree to enable them to go on to then have the necessary degree to get onto the BVC as it was then.
And so Garvey, I mean, what do you love most about the job that you do?
Well, as an employment lawyer, I think I have the best of both worlds, actually, because there's a commercial element to employment law, and I do a lot of breach of contract and advising companies on acquisitions and the employment aspects of that, so I can get to feel nice and feel like I'm a commercial lawyer. But then there's the other side of things, which is the HR side of things, and it's a bit more touchy-feely, it's a bit more relationship-based, and so you find that sometimes your legal skills aren't all that a client requires if you're acting for claimants or individuals. Sometimes there is a bit of a counsellor that comes out in you, so I get a good mix of commercial law and also some of the soft HR advice.
And Suzanne, what's the best thing and the worst thing about being a lawyer? What kind of advice can you give to the people watching to say that if they're going into this career, think about this, consider this, this is amazing, but also this is the hard part or the worst part of this as a job?
I think one of the good things and the perks about being a lawyer to me is just the kind of, it's a respectful profession. I feel that when I go to work and when I advise clients, it's respectful. You're respected by your clients, you're respected by the public. It also gives you financial security. I think it's a profession that you can grow in, you can build yourself up, whether you want to become an associate, a partner. It's something that you can actually sort of aspire to different levels. There's so many different areas of law, so if you're thinking about going into law, you know, there's so many different areas that you can choose to specialise in. So just doing a law degree, you then can move on to different things. The worst thing about law, again, sometimes is your clients. Your clients are good, sometimes the best thing, but sometimes they're the worst thing. They can be demanding. You know, So yes, probably my clients.
Yeah.
And so, Lumdi,
I'm very good with them.
so do you, I'm going to take a question kind of from, we've got people that are kind of live tweeting us and hitting us on flavourmag.co.uk/TBT, asking us questions. So I've got Mumsy, and she said, do you find the job pressures are too great to have a good ability to balance a healthy lifestyle between pleasure and work?
Sometimes it's difficult to do that. Sometimes you don't own your own time. It depends on what you've got to do. If you have a case, what preparation you have to do. Sometimes you work late. Other times you're not that busy. Right now, what I do, which is actually good, I didn't know this existed before. I'm a consultant to other firms now. So instead of doing 9 to 5, I actually work for myself. I take on cases from firms, and I work mostly from home. And then at the end of the month, I build my files, and then we do profit sharing. So that gives me a bit of flexibility. Work-life balance is really good compared to how it used to be. But most of the time, if you work 9 to 5, well, I don't think there's much 9 to 5 if you're a lawyer. You just go with what you've got to do, and because your client is priority, and you've got to deliver.
And Tunde, this is for you. We have Abigail Barnes, and she wanted to know, if you finished the BPTC and not obtained pupillage yet, what would you advise her to get involved in to increase her chances of obtaining one?
I think I touched upon that point earlier, in that it's really important that at this stage, if you've been unsuccessful in the application process, that you identify things that will make you stand out. So I had a young person who I was mentoring who was a mentor for an asylum seeker, and she wanted to go into immigration law. Now, all of a sudden, on her applications, that stood out because it wasn't something that anybody had thought of or had done. The advice that I may give that student, depending on what area she's interested in, attend seminars, make herself known, because one of the difficulties you have in the profession is your visibility. So it's much easier for you to spread your feet once your foot's in the door, but that can't happen if people don't know you. So she should identify what chambers or firms she wants to work for, and familiarise herself by attending their events which are open to the public, but then also doing things that are going to make her more valuable to the marketplace. Because at this stage, students, unfortunately, are a liability to the marketplace. Why is someone going to invest in you? What are you actually going to bring to the table? And if you change your paradigm to think about what can I offer the firm, you'll then become very creative and start thinking of things that you can create.
And Garvey, what 3 qualities do you think people need to kind of have a successful law career?
I was asked this question at interview once, but they only said I can name one thing. And I racked my brains and I thought, is it attention to detail? Yes, you need that. Is it just good time management skills? That's important to have, and so that would be number 2. But I thought, what's the most important thing? And I said, the ability to get on with people. And he slammed his hand down on the table and said, yes, that's the answer. And I was shocked by his reaction, actually. And then I think that people don't come to you because you know the law. Because I think if you work in a top firm, clients have every right to expect that everybody they go to knows the law. And so why are they coming to you rather than Mr. B, who works at a firm down the road? And I think it does come down to your relationship with the individual. I mean, there's other things that are important as well. Do you look at things differently to other lawyers? Are you a typical lawyer that says no? Or do you say, actually, that might be tricky, but let's find out the way that we can get to the root of what the problem is and find a satisfactory conclusion to it. So it's not just about knowing the law. There are so many other aspects, and I would say the most important one is likability and the ability to get on with your clients, as well as be able to think a bit differently. And the client is right at the end of the day often, and so it's a case of helping them to get to where they want to get to.
And so I'm going to take a question from the audience. So does anybody in the audience want to ask a question? What about you?
Hi. on, yeah. My name is Rebecca Chambers, and I just wanted to ask, have you guys had to like encounter like any hurdles actually like on your journey to becoming a lawyer? And if so, like what did you do to kind of overcome them?
So I'm going to ask that for you, Cheryl. If you've encountered any hurdles?
But, for sure, I think it would be unrealistic for anybody in any career to say that they haven't encountered any hurdles. I think instead of talking about specific ones, what I would say is one of the three things that I would say it takes you to become a lawyer definitely is tenacity. And you have to have, in addition to tenacity, a certain amount of self-belief. Because as Tunde pointed out, the current climate at the moment is so competitive. And as newcomers coming into the industry or coming into particular parts of the legal sphere, you will be seen as liabilities and people won't want necessarily to invest in you. So you have to be tenacious. You have to be able to take knockbacks, get back up, keep applying, identify your strong points, push those out that you just have to keep on keeping on. And in addition to this, I've said this to people before, and I hope it doesn't fall in the wrong way, but you have to have a ridiculous amount of self-belief. Because if you don't believe in yourself and you walk into an interview and your interviewer identifies that, you've knocked away half of your chances. So I would say, in terms of overcoming obstacles, it becomes easier if you develop a mindset of tenacity and a mindset of, I am going to make it, I am going to get there.
And Suzanne, how difficult was it for you to get your training contract, and what advice can you give to people watching in terms of them trying to get a contract?
The advice that I would give is to do as much work experience as possible. I got my training contract through when I finished my LPC. I decided that I needed to stand out from the rest. We've all got sort of good academic qualifications. It was important for me to go out into the legal world and try and get some experience, some really good experience, so I could stand out. And when I sort of go to interviews, I could actually, articulate and talk about the experience that I'd undertook. So I went and I worked in a law firm for a year and was offered a training contract through just that hard work and commitment. So it may not result in a training contract, but it will definitely help in your applications and your interview if you go out and you try and get as much experience as possible. I mean, it is hard in this economic climate, and I have work experience in law graduates actually working for free, and sometimes, especially in this economic climate and in this time, that may be what you need to do for a few months.
So I want to end it with each of you saying one word that you think everybody watching should take away with them when thinking about kind of applying kind of for a job or for a kind of degree in law, that they should think about. Just a word that you want them to take away. This is, keep this in mind, whether it's hard work or whether it's just your one word, kind of one word review of kind of.
Research. I'll say research anything you want to do. Just, you've got to not go there like you don't know. You need to go and research and get to the bottom of it and see what's needed.
Reliability, be reliable. One of the qualities of being a good lawyer is being reliable. Lots of people will be smart and have other competencies that you'll have, but lots of students in particular are not reliable. They turn up late and they don't do what they're supposed to do. So be reliable.
I was going to say tenacity because I said it before, but I really do think I can't stress enough how important it is to be self-assured. And that is very different from arrogance or, having a big head. Just be self-assured, know what you want, know who you are, know what you have to offer, and, promote that at all times. So being self-assured.
I would say commerciality. I think one of the biggest mistakes students make is they look at law as what it is, and it's all about law and it's about cases and things like that. And at the end of the day, if you're in private practice, law is a business, and it's about making money at the end of the day. And you've got to appreciate that not only are you going to be working in a firm where the aim is chargeable units, billable time, and that sort of thing, and be commercial as to the goals and interests of the firm, but those are your clients' interests as well. And so it's a commercial awareness of the environment you're working in.
And Suzanne, what's your word that you'd like them to take away with them today?
I think my word is faith, whether it's faith in yourself or faith in whatever you believe in, whatever religious belief you have, because alongside faith comes confidence and self-belief. And when you're interviewing, I interview a lot, when someone has that self-confidence, it does, you know, you see someone in a different light. And I think that once you've got faith, you'll have that self-confidence.
Well, and also I want to say it's Suzanne's birthday today. So I want you, she's taken her time out to kind of give you guys advice. So I want everyone to look at this camera here, this is camera 1. I want you all to say after me, happy birthday, Suzanne, and wave to the camera. So everyone say after 3, 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday, Suzanne.
Thank you, everybody.
So thank you all for joining us. It's been a pleasure learning about all the various areas of law that you can work in and the qualities you need to succeed, from client servicing to doing research and time management. And, of course, we know first impressions count, so it's imperative you present yourself professionally and confidently to excel in today's competitive workplace. We're lucky enough to have Joy Odenisi, CEO of Style and Image Consultancy, Potential You, here to tell us how we can dress for success.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for giving me this platform this afternoon. I'm the senior stylist at Potential You. Our passion is helping our clients achieve confidence and style with their wardrobe. Today I'm here to talk to you about how to achieve confidence and to have a successful image. As we all know, first impressions count. Within the first 4 seconds of meeting a person, they've made a perception of you not by what you say, not by what you do, but how you look. Our communication, only 7% of it are our words. Vocal is only 38%, and 59% is how we present ourselves and what we see. So it's imperative to understand that first impressions count. I have a client who's an MP. During the day, she's very professional. On the weekends, she's a rock chick. So I wouldn't dress her the way she dresses to her concerts to work. So it's really important to understand the difference between your work attire and your corporate and your personal attire. What I would say, first of all, regarding creating a successful image, is first of all understanding the organization you're working for, knowing their ethos, knowing their brand, what their values are. So if you're going for an interview in a company that's professional, make sure you project that confidence. If it's somewhere that's creative, make sure that you dress in that manner. So I would implore you to do your research first and foremost. Also, a confident body language is everything. From the way you look at somebody, the lawyer spoke earlier about confidence. Confidence is everything, so make sure that you project that when you're going for that interview or going for that next promotion. Also, having a professional wardrobe is really important. It doesn't have to mix with your personal life, making sure that you understand where you're going. And then, of course, your personal wardrobe is all about yourself. It's all about your personality, what your lifestyle is, which is really the complete opposite of your corporate or your work wardrobe. Just a few key notes on how to dress successfully. First of all, as we all know, how you dress is how you are perceived and also how you are treated. So it's important that you project that. Secondly, always dress with the company's ethos in mind, as I said earlier. Don't use your sexuality when dressing for work. And this applies to men and women as well. So checking for the lengths of your skirts, your dresses, the tightness of your clothes, etc. Remember that you're much more. Dress with your body shape and your colouring in mind. So dressing that flatters you and colouring that complements you is key also. Your work attire should never be a distraction. So big logos, lots of bling, anything that's noisy, jewellery, anything that makes your attire stand out isn't really appropriate for work. Make sure that your work speaks for you, not necessarily how you look. Confidence is everything, from a firm handshake to strong, good eye contact. A positive body language projects confidence. Act it till you feel it. Often people say, I don't feel confident. Act like you're confident and then confidence will come, because you only have one chance to make a lasting first impression. And last but not least, don't dress for where you are, dress for where you're going. Have a vision in mind of what you want to achieve, what your goals are, and dress like that. Remember, we live in a visual world, so dress for where you, don't dress for where you are, dress for where you're going. Thank you.
Amazing point. Don't dress for where you are, dress for where you're going. I'm definitely going to keep that key point in mind.
Thank you.
I mean, so what do you think would be the one staple piece that a woman and a man should have in their wardrobe, for whether it's going for interviews or just in general?
I would say, both for men and women, a pair of black shoes that are very sharp and crisp. They're timeless and they go with absolutely everything. You can wear them time and time again. So I'd say a pair of sharp black shoes, both for men and women.
And what do you enjoy most about what you do?
Confidence. We live in a very visual world, and often we compare ourselves with others. Potentially it's about celebrating who you are and projecting confidence. Love yourself, be confident about yourself, and go for it.
Thank you. The talk's been amazing.
Thank you.
Now it's time to hear from an inspirational and powerful motivational speaker, Sherry Dixon, who's well known for her former roles as the editor of Pride magazine and She Caribbean. She's here to discuss how to present yourself successfully and generate confidence through body language.
I want to talk to you about you. Many of us stand around and we talk about the work that we do. The work we do should become natural. If you studied for it and you're able to present it to any potential employer, that should be matter of fact. You're intelligent people, that's why you got your degree, or that's why you will become lawyers. But presenting you successfully is always the hardest thing. To walk into a room for an interview or to even stand on a stage and do a presentation is really hard. So how do we go about being confident about that? For all you know, I could actually be quite nervous because you're all staring at me. But one of the ways to do it is to say, I can and I will, and deliver it. It's as simple as that. Joy talked about preparing in advance, and preparing in advance means that you practice how you speak. If you don't know how you look when you speak, if you don't know how you look when you smile, then somebody else is seeing it and you don't know what you look like. I worked in law. I started off in law. I don't think anybody here knew that, but I started off in law and I was nervous. I didn't study law, but I was good. I was good at communication skills, and I was working for the CEO of a major corporation. I didn't need to know law because what I learned is about the brand, the company, and the man behind the brand. I learned what he liked. I learned what he didn't like. I learned his preference. I knew what time he came in, which car he was coming in. I learned about the person behind the brand. And then I licked it because I was able to fit in with his needs. I knew that he was always hungry at 11 o'clock, and I knew he was always hungry at 2 o'clock. So I bought biscuits. Simple. It sounds a bit childish when I say that, but that is the same thing that I'm telling you about as you go along. Becoming a magazine editor, I became a top makeup artist, and how did I do that? I understood the person behind the brand, and you are the person behind the brand. So if you come along to an event and your face look hard and vexed, which sometimes, you know, you see people when you're doing interviews, it's like, hello, did you take a Vex pill today? And you bring out your issues into your workplace. You see some people and you wonder, hello, where's the Vaseline? You cannot go along to an interview with dry hands, dry lips, because instead of that person concentrating on what you're saying, they're wondering, why did you not take the extra 2 minutes to groom yourself? Am I right or am I wrong? So look after yourself. That's the first part of presentation. There's no point having your Calvin Klein dress and your Jimmy Choo shoes and the back of your heels are looking like last year's news. It really does not make sense. So grooming is first part of it. And then the other part of it is what you call the other part of interpersonal skills is how you speak, how you relate. That same boss said to me one day, I don't want that girl. And I said, but you haven't even met her. No, I heard her voice on the phone. Her voice on the phone did not sell her the job. So if you're going to speak to somebody on the phone, can I come in and meet you? What day is good for you? Stand up. Stand up as you speak on the phone, because then the whole body language is one of assertiveness, not aggressiveness. There's a big difference between assertiveness and aggressiveness. And you speak on the phone and your voice projects authority. If you sit down or you lay down, it's apologetic. Oh, good morning. Can I speak to Mr. So-and-so? It's like, hello? Can I send you out to represent my brand? And that's why that girl didn't get the job. So all those things are just as important as taking time out for the weave, as taking time out to groom your elbows, as taking time out for the back of your heels. And when I say that, I just don't say it about girls, boys too. It's really important. The tie that you wear must be sensible if you have to wear a tie. And don't go in with orange if you think that, you know, it's not that sort of corporation. But lastly, it's about you and how you present yourself, how you speak. I'm holding my hands right now because maybe I'm nervous. But this is another way, as I'm doing, is standing on one feet and bracing against my feet and holding my hands. Look at politicians, how they speak, they hold their hands. It's something to brace on. Just learn the way to stand, learn the way to speak, and learn the way to look somebody in the eye. And that's what I teach.
Fascinating, Sherry.
Thank you.
I learned about how to appear more approachable and confident, the power of eye contact and asserting yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, what made you want to get into this area of speaking about confidence?
Over the years of working for major corporate firms, people have come through the doors, whether it's to sell their goods. And I always remember this guy coming through one time, and he had a great product, but he apologized for it. I was feeling depressed. It was like a counseling session, and I always thought, your brand is not going to sell. And instead of helping him to get advertising, I sat there and told him how to fix himself up. And over time, as I moved on, I realized that was my asset, that I was there to empower people to be the best that they can be.
Amazing. Well, thank you. I'm sure everybody's found your talk insightful today.
Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed today's show and taken away lots of tips that will help you get ahead. We also have 2 great initiatives that you can get involved in. First up, how does your ACS do cool things that matter? Tell us in 30-second video and you could win up to £500 sponsorship for your society. Go to topblacktalent.com for more info and to share your video. Google's Top Black Talent are also opening its doors, again, to give you a program of on-site careers events and mentoring opportunities. Again, go to topblacktalent.com to apply. Applications open for it on October 4th. On this jam-packed day, you will hear from Googlers who are working on cutting-edge projects to solve some of the world's problems, learn about some of Google's coolest products, meet interns who can tell you what it's really like to work here, and network with like-minded students. And lastly, you can participate in our Google Top Black Talent finale. So make sure you apply. Today's show has been awesome. Thank you to all our wonderful guests. We'd also like to thank our partners, ACS Project, Slenky, and Rare Recruitment. As always, see you next time.
It was a great show. I thought it provided really good information to students like myself that are always looking to have extra tips on how to improve our competitivity in the business and how to get a training contract or just get ahead in the legal profession.
Well, I thought it was a great show, a great experience, to learn about the soft skills required to, secure the kind of job you want for your career and your profession. So it was a great show altogether.
My best bit was probably with the 4 lawyer panels and how they were very blunt and they didn't try to kind of sugarcoat just how difficult it was, but then also them being kind of in the position that they are also let me know that whilst it's difficult, if you put the hard working and you're dedicated, then it is possible to actually put onto your career.